Audi has refreshed the Q8 and the SQ8, and this is exactly what I wanted to see in the front end. The changes they made in the front end are the exact same changes that I wanted to see when I did the in-person review of the Q8 on the Sketch Monkey channel. So I'm glad to see what they did here. More in line with the e-tron Q8, which has more of a fluid design. So what we're going to do in this video is have a look at this design from a front, side, and rear, and the interior. And I'm going to show you what is new with the 2024 Q8 and the SQ8. I think it's pretty interesting when you think about it. This should be named the Q7, because if you look at the Audi lineup and you look at the big sedans, the A8 is the bigger one, and then you have the A7 being the sportback version. But in the big SUV lineup, they kind of switched that, I think. Am I thinking this through now? That the Q8 is actually the big one, that is the coupe SUV, and then the Q7 is the normal, bigger SUV. It's kind of a weird naming there from Audi. But first of all, let's have a look at this article from, of course, our car and driver. And let's see what's new here for the 2024 Audi Q8. I think it's a beautiful looking coupe SUV. Honestly, I think this is one of the best looking coupe SUVs out there on the market today, with the Porsche Cayenne coupe as well. I think that's a good looking car as well. So 2024 Audi Q8 and V8 powered SQ8 gains sleeker styling, new LED lights. The Q8's turbocharged 3-liter V6 and the SQ8's twin-turbo 4-liter V8 carry over unchanged. Well done, Audi. It's a fantastic V8 engine, this twin-turbo 4-liter. The 2024 Q8 and SQ8 will go on sale here in the US this winter, so pretty soon. It's already almost November right now. The grille is less chiseled than before and flows smoothly into the headlights. You can see that here. This entire section is brand new. More on that in just a minute. The air inlets in the front bumper have been enlarged. A new exhaust setup is fitted across the lineup. Can barely see that here because this is the blacked out version, but I think it looks fantastic with this black. I'm not a huge fan of this brand new color though, this bronze or gold color that we have. Optional packages can have the window trim, bumper trim, and grille finished in gloss black, and that's exactly what I would do with my Q8 and have it like this instead of having it be satin gray or silver. The Q8 will be offered with a high-tech laser lights that boost the range of the high beams. The daytime run lights on top-spec models can swap between 4 different lighting signatures, and that is something that Audi has been doing for a very long time. Very cool technology when it comes to the headlight designs, ever since they first introduced the Audi R8 back in 2007. First car that had the daytime run lights being these LEDs, and they continue to improve on their lighting designs. So we have 5 new wheel designs are available, from 21-inch up to 23-inch, and I think it looks so good. Specifically, I definitely prefer this color, and honestly, this doesn't even look that bad, not having the blacked out package with the silver trim here. It looks very nice because this is not chrome, it's more like a brushed aluminum feel to it. And I do believe that these are the 23-inch wheels that we see right here. As I said, you have new colors. We have 3 new colors, including this yellow or gold or whatever you want to call that. The same turbocharged 3-liter V6, which has 335 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque, connected to an 8-speed automatic on the base model, and you of course have all-wheel drive. The SQ8 still packs a twin-turbo 4-liter V8 with 500 horsepower and 568 pound-feet of torque. Just a beast. Same 8-speed automatic and all-wheel drive in this one as well. You can get these features as options for the Q8, but in the SQ8, you get it as standard. The air springs, the adaptive dampers, and the rear wheel steering, which is pretty cool because I think this is a large enough package that is definitely going to be beneficial to have the rear tire steer a little bit and reduce the turning radius on these big cars. The Q8 is expected to start around $75,000 and the SQ8 around high $90,000 for these 2 cars. So let's jump into Photoshop here and let me show you what's new with the SQ8 and the Q8 when it comes to the design here. So up top we do have the old, or the current I would say, yes, this is the SQ8 and not just the Q8. What I said when I reviewed this car, I'm going to link that video down in the description, is that this piece right here it feels very abrupt. It doesn't feel Audi-ish to me because it sticks in here and then just ends right in the middle section of this beautiful silver trim piece. I would much rather have it be ending here and have this be complete silver, or if you want to extend this piece, extend it all the way to this area right here. Having it right in the middle, it just doesn't feel natural, and it feels like a very harsh endpoint for that specific detail. Then we have the top part right here. I do like that we have one single line, and underneath this is where all the graphics starts. We don't have a proper bumper in this, but you can see that the bumper is actually hiding, or the protection, the metal bar is actually hiding in the lower section of the grille because this is all covered up, and behind this plastic piece is a solid metal bar that is going to act as a bumper in a collision. So down low we do have the brand new SQ8, and look at what they did with this specific area right here, this winglet that sticks in here, just how much smoother this looks. So instead of extending the body color, now what Audi did is they extended the grille, the trim piece around the grille, so it's a lot thinner down here than it was right here. This was thick all around this grille, silver grille, but now it's a lot more dynamic, and I really like this facelift. I think it's a fantastic just modification to this front end design. And instead of having now this piece sticking in to this area like we have in the previous one right here, we now have the grille sticking in and taking up some space into the headlight itself. And I think that change, to have this flow nicely now and kind of frames the grille. We also have new air intakes down here in the corner, which I think doesn't necessarily look better than the previous one. They just look bigger essentially, but it still have a much more elegant and clean look to this to the front end graphics of the SQ8 and the Q8. You also have new headlights, as you can see. I do think the old ones looked pretty good, but the new ones have more dynamic feeling in it. I think this happens even more when we look at the taillight refresh that they did on the 2024 Q8 and the SQ8. I think this is probably one of the best integrations of a bumper headlight. I'm not sure if we can call this a bumper headlight because it's still attached to the main unit up here that houses the daytime run light, and then you have the main headlight being down here. So this is where the main headlight sits. A beautiful integration. You can see just a connection between all the features here now that was kind of lacking, specifically in this area right here. Now everything is connected and flows beautifully. You have this outline of the headlight going into the grille, and of course down low, and the same thing on the other side. I also like the hood lines that we have here connecting to the very corner right here. You can see this corner of the grille, boom, you have a line connecting to it. Very sharp line from the hood coming down and having some connection to the front end. And as I said, new air intakes in the front end as well. Now I didn't find, this is something that I wish every auto manufacturer did when they release a new model, is to just release press photos that has a clear side view on it, because the side view is the most important view. However, I could not find a press photo of the new 2024 Q8 and SQ8 from a side view, which is a shame. But the thing is, it doesn't really look that different in side view from the current SQ8 and the Q8. I do like the styling that we have here. We have a sharp shoulder line dipping down slowly into the rear end, if I can get the line right here. And then you also have an additional shoulder right here, adding some muscle above the rear axle. And this being the sort of the coupe SUV version of the Q7, I do think Audi did an absolutely fantastic job working the proportions on this design, because this is one of these big SUV coupes that does not look front heavy, and that's always the problem I have with coupe SUVs, is that they take a normal SUV, chop off a huge volume in the rear, and what that does is makes it feel super front heavy, like it's going to understeer in every single corner. But in this case, we do have a very thick D-pillar here helping to add some more weight and mass into the rear end of the Q8 and the SQ8 and the RSQ8 as well. So last but not least, before jumping into the interior, let's have a look at the rear end. Now, one thing about these taillights, I do believe I said that in my review as well, is that I think these taillights back here on the car, the pre-facelift, they look too static because we have one very, very thin line right here, light bar going across. Then we have the same thickness of these LEDs down here at the bottom. There is no different thicknesses in the LEDs. And you know that I love to have different thicknesses, specifically in the LEDs. It's going to create a lot more personality and identity for whatever car you're working on. But other than that, the rear end looks super chiseled. I do love the quad tailpipes that we have down here. Now looking at the new one, we do have a new diffuser, a new exhaust system down here. But the main difference here is that look at the taillight graphics in the new one. This is also exactly what I wanted to see. Look at how much more dynamic the new taillight graphics are for the new 2024 model, because we have different thickness right here. Let me make this green so you can actually see what it is I'm sketching. So right here at the very end point, we do have a thick, juicy piece of LED going right here. It even has curvatures to it going around it, framing it, and then it becomes a lot thinner. It even separates here. You have a separation between these pieces, creating some more dynamic feeling. Even the middle section here is thicker than what it used to be in the current pre-facelift. And in addition to that, these T-shapes down here, they're like small T's in the, in the taillights. They also become a lot more interesting, in my opinion, than having it be just an array of just small LEDs going like that. This looks way better, in my opinion, than the pre-facelift. And I think they did, again, the exterior design of the new Q8 just looks fantastic, specifically with, I do believe these are, I don't think we can see that, what it says on the tire, but I do believe these are the 23-inch wheels, which is definitely something that I would go with. One detail, though, that I would not be so sure about, that I thought I would be, is this blacked out package. I do still think I would choose that because I think blacked out graphics, trim pieces right here around the window, for example, would just look better. And also specifically, I think this diffuser, I definitely want to have this be black. But I do like that we have the silver side mirrors, because that brings back the old S and RS models of Audi, having that silver satin style of the side mirrors on their sporty models, and I definitely want to keep that in my SQ8. Now looking at the interior, and as you can see, there is really not a lot of changes here. I do believe this comes from the SQ8 in both of these cases, and the biggest change that I can see is look at the steering wheel here. Not sure if a flat bottom steering wheel is something that is going out of trend or something like that, because this up here is the old one, and you can see in the new one we do have a pretty traditional looking steering wheel. It's all round. There is not a flat bottom on this steering wheel, and I actually prefer the flat bottom in this case, specifically if you have the S package or the SQ8 or the RSQ8. I want to have a flat bottom steering wheel. It just, in my opinion, it just looks sportier and also feels good to grip. Other than that, I don't really see any big differences in here. You still have the ambient lighting down here. You have the ambient lighting here as well on the side of the center console. A bunch of gloss piano black finish, which I'm not a huge fan of. You have this vent though stretching across the entire top part of the dashboard, and thankfully I love that we still have a clear housing. I think Audi is one of these brands today that are doing the interiors the best, because we have a clear housing, beautiful housing for the gauge cluster. We have it completely digital. You can have this look almost like an analog gauge cluster. You can customize this exactly as you want. If you want to have the map take up the whole gauge cluster, you can do that. If you want to have it be more traditional tachometer, speedometer around, you can also do that if you want to. And in addition to that, I also think that this integration of the screen here, infotainment screen, is pretty well done. And you have a separated screen for the climate control settings. So this screen down here is completely dedicated to the climate control settings. So at least that's a good thing. I do wish we did have some more physical buttons for that, but Audi went sort of halfway and decided to create a completely separate unit for it, at least, so you can always have it available to you. Overall, fantastic job by Audi updating the Q8 and the SQ8, and I can't wait to see these beasts out on the road.